Hello everyone, how are you doing today? My name is Karina and welcome back to my channel. Today I am so excited to present with you guys my second update for my eyeshadow usage project pan. Full details of course are in the intro, so if you haven't seen the intro I'd recommend you start there. But the basics of the project is I enjoy eyeshadow, I want to get use out of my eyeshadow, but I get bored of eyeshadow very quickly. So going for a more traditional pan that palette or pan those eyeshadows, I would burn out and not be motivated, and it just wouldn't work for me. What does work for me though is bring in a random color. So I have every single eyeshadow, both single and every one in a palette, listed in an Excel sheet. I bring it in randomly, so I use the random number generator to generate a number from that Excel sheet, and I use that particular shadow 10 times. I use my palettes holistically, which means if I'm rolling in a shadow from a palette, I'm going to use that whole palette for my look as much as possible. Once I hit those 10 uses, I'm going to roll it out and bring something else in and keep this project rolling and see how much we can get through. In my last update, I had the goal of finishing off 2 of the eyeshadows. And by finishing off, I do mean getting to my 10 uses for it. And I am so excited to tell you guys, little spoiler, I did it! Which means we get to roll in 2 new palettes, and oh, I am excited for what I have rolled in. So let's just dive right into this update. Starting off, of course, with the very first eyeshadow that I had rolled into this project. This is coming from just this empty palette. This is the Mary Kay version of it. This is where I keep all of my depotted stuff, magnetic stuff, that kind of thing goes in here. So this is what I use holistically for this palette. The one I rolled in was this guy. So this is the Mary Kay Emerald Noir, so lovely dark green color. I use this all over the lid, or generally how I use it the most is in the outer corner, like a pop of color, kind of what I've done today, just with the green version of it. Now, my use on this one wasn't very good because I was focused on other eyeshadows both in this project and others, right? I don't just have my eyeshadows in this project, so do keep that in mind. So I only used it once since my last update. So that's all I managed to do. That brings me a total of 6 uses in this project, means I have 4 uses left on it to get this little guy rolled out. I'll let you know now, that's going to be the goal for next month. Those remaining 4 uses. But I'm pleased with, again, I did use it, right? At the very least, if I'm getting a use, that's a use I didn't have, that is still progress towards my goal. And again, I was focused on the other 2 palettes much more significantly. So this was the first one. It's going to stick around for another month. The second eyeshadow comes from the Makeup Revolution. This is their Forever Flawless Constellation palette. This is what the inside looks like, and of course the one I had rolled in was this blue shade Neptune here. So I'll throw it up on the screen so a little bit easier to see that one. I may have used that shade before it was rolled into this project. I don't really remember. I used it 5 times since my last update. So the 5 uses there plus the 5 I had done from intro to first update now means it is at 10 uses. Today is the last use. Again, a lot of the pop in the outer corner, like that's what I have found I enjoy these pops of colors for. It's a little bit more fun without being super crazy colorful because I'm a little bit more of a neutral girl with my eyeshadow, or like not as bold pops of color. But I'm enjoying it. Like I really did enjoy it. I'm a little bit sad that it's rolling out, but I am excited to play with other palettes, other shadows. So we've met the goal. So we're going to say goodbye to this palette until we roll it in again. And of course, the third one that's currently in the project came from the Cab Cosmetics palette. I had rolled in the shade Burnt Orange. So this is the palette here. Burnt Orange, of course, is this shade here. I predominantly use that as my transition color. So I did have a lot of very warm looks in the winter months here. Again, I'll throw up a picture of what it looks like and a little bit more of a close-up for you guys. You can see I've gotten some pretty decent use, right? There's definitely along the side, right? I can see the dip in there, so that's really exciting to see that progress. I used it since the last update a total of 4 times. So 4 times plus the 6 I had done in the update previously brings me a total of 10 uses on it. So now this palette also gets to roll out as well, and we get to bring in some replacements. So let's talk about the replacements. So as you guys are seeing, I use the random number generator to generate myself 2 numbers and corresponds with my collection. You will note that the range is a lot bigger now. I've got a few more eyeshadow palettes because that's something Box Charm likes to send me, and I did enjoy the palettes that they sent me, so we're a lot bigger. So more things to pull from, and I am very excited about what we are getting. So the first number that it rolled was number 145, and that corresponds with this little guy. So this is the Butter London. I got this in BoxyCharm. I had picked up in their drop shop, or whatever it was called at that point, one of their older boxes, which had this palette in it. Natural Goddess palette. That's what it is. So this is the Butter London Natural Goddess palette. We've got a variety of shades in here, more on the neutral side. You got some pops of color with the blue here, the most vibrant. Then, of course, the green and the pink. The color that 145 corresponds to is actually probably one of the most versatile in the palette, and that, of course, is this brown shade right here in Temptress. So I'll throw that up so you can see it a little bit closer. That's the color I will use to kind of deepen out the outer portion of the eye, and give a little bit more definition. Now, my problem with the palette, and I've played with it before, so I've already formed some thoughts. You can see that slight little bit of wear in there, is there really isn't anything I can put in the crease, right? I could do the blue if you're going for a much more colorful look, but these are the only 2 mattes in the crease, and these are 4 wonderful looking shimmery, goody, enjoyable colors, which means that when I am using this palette, I will have to reach into another palette. Generally, when I have to reach into another palette to complete a look, so if I'm using, for example, the cream eyeshadow in Partners in Cream, for example, or I have 2 palettes that I tend to reach for. I have a Maybelline, the Matte Bar palette, and I have a Viseart palette, which is, again, a bunch of nice neutral colors and lots of crease options. So generally, those are the 2 palettes I use in conjunction with, and will be using, like with something like this one, where I don't have a crease shade. So just so you guys know, that's how I'll have to complete the look with it. But I am looking forward to playing with these, but we still have some of those pops, but is more on the everyday, can wear it wherever, no problems kind of look. At least for what I feel comfortable in wearing to work, out to the grocery store, whatever the case is. So that is our first roll, and of course the goal is going to be using it 10 times to roll out the color Temptress. All right, the next number that we rolled in was number 446, and that is going to correspond with the Ciate London Spice palette. I believe we got this in BoxyCharm in October of last year, so more recent palette. I've used it once so far. And that was all I did. It's not the easiest, there we go, not the easiest palette to open, and of course you got all the shade names on the back. So that's what the palette looks like. Again, a lovely fall palette. Everyday neutral. We've got a couple different options for the crease. We've got some options to deepen out the outer corner. We've got something to set your eyeshadow primer. We've got some gorgeous sparkly things. And of course, number 446 corresponds with the shade Pumpkin Spice, which is actually this color right here. So I have not used that color before. So when I went into this palette, what did I even use? I can't even see the wear from when I was in this palette before. Well, we're going to start off with Pumpkin Spice. Again, I'll throw a picture up so you can see it a little bit better. Beautiful toppery color or shimmery color. We'll kind of see how it works, if you can build it up on its own or if it is just like a topper eyeshadow. But again, super wearable, super everyday. I'm looking forward to playing with that. So just to recap what we've got going on, we've got the dark green color, that's kind of my pop of color. We've got our deep brown here, so something to kind of deepen up the outer portion of the eye. And of course, we've got some kind of shimmery goodness that can go all over the lid. So I'm very excited about what we have in the project right now. So let's talk about the goals, what I want to do for the next update, which will be coming to you guys sometime mid-April, because wow, mid-April, that's how we're progressing through the year already. So, if you are caught up with my This Is Fantasy project pan, you'll know, of course, I do have now 2 eyeshadow palettes that are rolled into that project, just based on the prompts. So, of course, one of those is going to be my priority to finish. I need 7 uses on the palette as a whole to get it done. And remember, because I use my palettes generally more holistically, that is going to be a little bit more limiting compared to perhaps other people who combine their palettes together. So because I have those 2 other palettes, one I want to get rolled out, one I've just rolled in that I want to play with, and of course I rolled in 2 new eyeshadow palettes that I also want to play with. In this project for next month, the only core goal that I'm going to set is on Emerald Noir. Right, so I do want to have in this project 1 eyeshadow palette rolling out every month. So that green color, of course, only needs 4 more uses left to hit my goal, and that should be easy enough to do. So that's going to be my main priority for this project. Otherwise, I just want to play with my new colors, kind of decide between the 2 of them which one's going to become my main priority when we get to the next update to set the goal for the following update. My instinct is going to be on Temptress, so the dark brown shade, just because that is a little bit more versatile of a color, especially since March and April are my busiest months at work. So in terms of really getting to be creative and exploring eye looks, my time's going to be a little bit more limited. So we'll kind of see what happens. But again, recap, the goal for this project, get Emerald Noir rolled out and simply just play and enjoy with these 2 new shadows, these 2 new palettes that I've been able to roll in. But that is everything for today's update. So thank you so much for joining me today. And of course, make sure that you are subscribed to my channel so you don't miss when I do my next update, since this project is a little bit random in when it goes. So generally it does go up between like the 12th to the 15th, 16th, kind of depending on what else I'm posting. But of course, it just makes it easy if you're subscribed, so you can just be notified. If you enjoy project pans, make sure you also hit that like button, subscribe to my channel so you can see all the other stuff I am doing over the course of all the projects. I've got a lot of projects, but I am progressing quite well and I'm quite happy with it. So it is nice to have this project, which is exclusively just a usage goal, right? Something that is pretty small, right? The 10 uses to roll something out. Thank you so much for enjoying this video today, and I will see you guys in my next video very soon. Have a wonderful day.